mode. Okay, let's try this again. There we go. All right, last call. Promise we're going now. Let me get this open for you guys. Okay, we should be good to go. Let me know if there's anything that's not coming through. Sorry about that. All right, so increasing veggies. This is going to be pretty short. I think it's a fairly simple topic, but a lot of times we kind of miss the mark because we think we need to be eating boring things or like a huge amount of volume. So overall, this is just going to be about some simple tricks and tips about how you can increase your vegetable intake overall. And then I did send out like a little workbook earlier today. That was an attachment to the email. I can also resend it if anyone needs it. And then I'll obviously be recording this and will be happy to share it as well. So don't feel like just if you miss something that you've got to take vigorous notes or anything. It's really just meant to be informational and things to think about. And then you can kind of pick and choose what works best for you and incorporate it into your lifestyle. So when we think about vegetables, obviously there's a huge assortment of them. And we also think about a variety, right? So we're thinking, you can see it just on the screen here. There's tons of greenery, but then there's also obviously the other end of the spectrum. We've got zucchinis, cucumbers, carrots. We can also go into other things like cabbage, and we can get into eggplants and some creative pieces. But when we start thinking about vegetables, we want to think about making it a really easy experience for people. And I know a lot of times we think that we need to like do all these fancy things with vegetables, but really it's pretty simple. And so we're going to dive into a couple ideas and options for you guys that you can think about. And then I'm also going to, in the workbook that I emailed out, there was some links to recipes as well, I believe. And we're going to go over a couple ideas and thoughts about that. So and again, this is not earth-shattering stuff, but it's stuff that we kind of forget about, things that we forget about, and things that we forget how, I want to say, quote unquote, simple it is. And so the first thing is think about cleaning and chopping your vegetables ahead of time. I've started making it a habit thanks to, if you've seen The Home Edit on Netflix, I've started making it a habit. Not only do I organize my fridge, but I also, when I get home from the grocery store, before I put anything away, I'm washing it, sometimes cleaning and or chopping it ahead of time. I found that I do that a lot with like our fruits so that my son Frank can have easy access to things. But I've also found that we are starting to do with our vegetables too, and we have it all sorted in our fridge. So I've kind of made it like kind of a game, like how neat can I get our fridge with all of our groceries in it? But again, super simple, clean and chop your veggies ahead of time. So we're thinking, peppers, cut them up. We're thinking things that can self-sustain in the fridge. Obviously there's things that can't, so you won't, but I've made it, again, for myself, I've kind of made it into a game of, can I get things home, clean them, chop them, or get them organized in the fridge that I find like in an appealing way. And so that's just a really, really easy thing to do. The more readily available things are, the more probable it is going to be that we're going to go ahead and eat them or consume them, or at least give them a second look. So make it appealing and make it easy. Really, really simple game plan there. So again, when we're thinking about coming home from the grocery store, don't just put things in the fridge or put them on the counter. Think about, how can I make this easy for myself and others in my house to be able to consume these? That should be number 2. But another idea, try different cooking methods. So we're going to talk a little bit, I'll give you a couple ideas about how to eat your vegetables. I know that I absolutely hate boiled vegetables, right? I think they're soggy. I think they lose their taste. To me, it's gross. So I just know that is not something that works for me. And so a couple of options that you can do with vegetables, right? Here's a bowl of boiled broccoli or steamed broccoli, right? It's discolored, it's soggy, it doesn't exactly look good to me unless you put a lot of butter on it. I probably like it, but um, when we think about a couple different methods that I think are way more appealing for this broccoli. We're thinking about air fryer. I don't know if anybody has an air fryer. I have one, and I love it. I love it for my meals. It doesn't really work for my entire family, so it's really more an individual meal, but it's a great idea. And then you've got roasting broccoli here. So as simple as 375 for probably depends how much volume you have on there, but let's call it 15-20 minutes. 375, salt, pepper, oil. Put it on a sheet pan with either foil, or if you have like a nonstick, you can just use a nonstick pan, and you're in business with vegetables for at least that meal. Obviously, storing that won't carry over super well for the next day, but you could easily, if you like leftovers, you can easily use it as leftovers. So you're just thinking about what are some other ways that we can make things just good. And so roasting and air frying are definitely two options that have been found to leave those vegetables a little bit more crispy, a little less soggy, keep their color, and still keep them nutritious as well. And you can add in some seasoning as you like. So again, this is not earth-shattering information, but it's things that we forget about when we're thinking about consuming vegetables. We're like, oh my gosh, I need to eat a salad. I need to eat, all the in a certain way, and you can actually do it this way. And then the next one would be sneaking your vegetables into your meals. So there's a couple ways to do this. And I think the next slide, let's see. Yeah. So let's look at this slide. These are 3 recipes that I think were, 2 of them were linked in that workbook that I sent out in the attachment email today. There's the egg muffins at the top left, and then the zucchini lasagna in the middle. And you can actually tap on that and it will open to a recipe page for those recipes. And so when those egg muffins you're sneaking in, it looks like maybe there's some pepper and tomato in there. You can easily sneak in some spinach. You can easily, let's see, pepper. You could probably, even throw some protein in there too, like ham, sausage, and things like that. So you can get pretty creative with just throwing a little bit of vegetable in there. I also think I like the idea of throwing a vegetable in for breakfast because it sets you in the right path for the day. A lot of times if you feel like you're already behind, the idea of adding in vegetables later in the day feels like you're just chasing. And so getting some vegetables in first thing in the morning will set a nice tone for the day and give you some momentum. Just kind of like working out too, right? A lot of people like to work out in the morning because it sets the tone for their day. They're already ahead of the game. So that's a thought for integrating vegetables in with breakfast. And then you got that zucchini lasagna at the bottom. Again, taking some sort of favorite, and this could easily be another pasta, quote unquote, pasta dish, if you wanted to make it. But just thinking about how can I incorporate some sort of vegetable in something that I already like, so that way you're not taking it away. Instead, you're just adding to it. And that's actually like a pretty common way to start achieving goals is think about, don't think about taking things away, think about adding things into what you already enjoy. And so, I mean, I'm Italian, I love lasagna. And listen, this isn't lasagna in the way that I'm thinking about it, but the recipe that I linked to has some lean ground turkey, some zucchini, along with some garlic, onion, olive oil, crushed tomatoes, mozzarella. So like a pretty easy recipe as it goes that doesn't call for a lot. You could easily make this into other versions if you have like a recipe that you like to follow, and then you can just put the zucchini in there instead of using the noodles. So just thinking of something crafty. And then at the top right is, I think those are meatloaf muffins, which the recipe wasn't in the workbook. I could easily link to it. But if we're thinking about adding some pepper in with meatloaf, you could definitely put some spinach in there. So kind of the same thing with the egg muffins. So just some ideas for you guys to incorporate vegetables that I don't think is really that difficult, but you will want to like practice it. And you'll refine your recipe and find what you really like. This is actually a great tip, and I started doing it a couple years ago. But adding frozen rice cauliflower to your smoothies, it's hard to believe that cauliflower has become like the champion vegetable of the year. Actually, probably the last few years, but it really has. We've made cauliflower into everything. I don't know if you've been to Trader Joe's, but they have cauliflower gnocchi, which we love. I'll put that in the air fryer with tomato sauce and some ground beef, and that's a great meal. But adding frozen riced cauliflower to your smoothies, not only does it add volume, but it also sneaks those vegetables in there. So you can easily get frozen rice cauliflower from, I mean, almost any grocery store. I see it at Fresh Time all the time, Trader Joe's, I'm sure Jewel, Whole Foods for sure. But I would say if you click into the workbook, there's a recipe for a strawberry shortcake smoothie. It's the middle recipe on the second page. And this one calls for some almond milk, strawberries, rice cauliflower. It also calls for some cashews, which you could easily not do. Some vanilla extract, strawberry protein powder. You could easily sub that in for chocolate. I'm more of a chocolate person, so I would probably do strawberries and chocolate with some rice cauliflower. But to make about probably a 10-ish ounce smoothie, it's about a cup of rice flour or rice cauliflower. So if you wanted to make, 2 servings, I'd probably say 2 cups. If you want to make 3 servings, 3 cups. So there's an idea about starting to incorporate some rice cauliflower in your smoothies. And that's the strawberry shortcake smoothie, which sounds good. Haven't tried it. And we talked about adding veggies to breakfast. Just kind of hit on that with that egg muffin recipe, or just, finding ways that you can integrate into like an omelet or into some sort of skillet if you make it. And so this is, kind of in action, seeing in action how you can make those egg muffins using those muffin tins and dropping some, it looks like there's actually some broccoli in there, and some pepper and maybe some zucchini too. This is just a chart. It's just a thought. Sometimes it helps get families on the same page about what either they want to try or what you're willing to try, and then give feedback in a way that feels not personal to the cook, whoever's cooking. So this could also be a fun way to get your entire family involved, so you don't feel like you're doing this on your own. So you could think about, over 4 weeks, make a list of things that you want to try, and then think about how you're going to cook them, and then get feedback from your family. So I know, like, if I did this with my son, he would say everything's yucky. But you could also, if you have more adult children, I think this is a great way to get their feedback and get them excited about trying new things, but also get them thinking about, did I enjoy that? Did I like it? Did I not like it? And then they could maybe get excited about trying it in a new way next time, or just get excited about having it again. And then you can kind of use this as like a chart, a fun little family chart. Those are kind of my tips. Like I said, I kind of went over the Nutrition Talk workbook that I sent out in the attachment. There were actually a couple really interesting stats. Interesting stats from oh my gosh, I think the USDA, just about, only 9% of people in the United States are consuming the recommended amount of veggies a day. So if it's a 2000 calorie diet, sorry, I'm going to stop sharing my screen real quick. If it's a 2000 calorie diet, we are thinking about 2 to 2.5 cups of vegetables and 2 cups of fruit a day. So if you wanted to answer that first question, that's kind of where you want to be. And do you eat the recommended amount? I mean, I know I don't all the time. I feel like I'm pretty inconsistent with hitting it. So it's one of the things that I want to work on. And then there's, kind of some self-questioning about what's your biggest struggles when it comes to eating vegetables. I guess if it was for me, it would be making sure that we have fresh vegetables. I feel like we either go through it really quick or things go bad quickly, and we don't have like a game plan. So probably planning a little bit more for me. And then there's your second page. We'll just include all the things that we talked about. Rinsing and cutting your veggies, roasting or air frying, sneaking veggies into a dish, adding rice cauliflower, and adding veggies to your breakfast to get a good head start. So I'm gonna pause for a second and see if anybody has any questions. Feel free to take yourself off mute. Like I said, I'm recording this. You've got the workbook. There's some recipe links in there as well. So hopefully that at least gives you like a good head start on, just kind of getting some ideas. But does anybody have any questions or anything that I can cover? Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, anything else that I can cover for you guys? I know there's probably got to be some questions out there. Anything? You can feel free to chat me too if you'd like. Otherwise, I will stay on for a couple minutes. Thanks, Andrew. I'll stay on for a couple minutes in case you have any questions that you don't want to ask in front of the crowd. Like I said, I'll send out this recording. I'll put it on our YouTube channel, and hopefully it just kind of gives you some ideas to think about. Doesn't have to be complicated. Let's make it easy, right? Okay. All right. Well, I'll pause. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to end. I'll probably give it like 30 seconds and go ahead and end the meeting. And hopefully I'll see some of you tomorrow in class. Tomato. Oh, Andrew goes, tomato. Remind me if it's a veggie. Technically, it's a fruit because of the seed structure. But you could also argue that for a few other things. So while I know it's a fruit, I feel like you could probably slide it into the veggie column because you're not eating like 5 tomatoes a day. It's probably like some cherry tomatoes. Technically a fruit, but I think about it as a veggie. I'll still put it in my egg muffins. All right. Okay, team. Well, I don't see any other questions, so I'm going to go ahead and end this meeting. And thanks for hopping on. I appreciate your time. It was a quick one, but hopefully it was helpful. And I'll see everybody in class hopefully tomorrow or Friday. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. So thanks for hopping on.